9 videos later and I still don't know how to use this mic, but we're trying. We'll get there eventually, I guess. So today I'm coming with a cottage build, which was actually meant to be for like 2 grandparents, and it was meant to be a tiny home. Apparently I don't know the definition of tiny home, so once I'd done the layout I realised, yeah, no, this is way too big for what I wanted to do. And I think that's because I wasn't really working from a plan this time. I was actually just working from my head. I was trying the whole thing that Little Simsy does where you just kind of build a load of boxes and then try and make them look good. So that's what I was doing. And then I think I did look at Pinterest at some point to kind of see what cottages actually look like. Don't know if this actually fits the definition of a cottage because I'm not really sure what it is. And I'm not very good at like particular styles. I just kind of build. So that's what I did. But I realised this was way too big to be what I wanted it to be. So I still got to build that. But I ended up making it into a family cottage. And I had an idea that I wanted to have a really big family in quite a small home. So this is that home. And it is a 7-bedroom home. And it's got room for a dog. Well, I imagined a dog, but it could be a cat as well. But I didn't put any cat things in. I just put food bowls in for the dog and I think some toys. But actually, I'm not sure I did put toys in. And I have just thought that I probably need to go back in and add some things because I always forget to put bins in every time I forget. So I think I did remember to put one out the front, but I don't think there's one in the kitchen. So that's something I'm going to have to go back in and add. And in fact, you'll see in this footage that I had to go back in and edit some stuff because I did something really, really stupid, which was I blocked off the door to the kitchen with the stairs. And I don't know how I did it. I think I must have changed the floor plan a bit by moving one of the walls and then the stairs overlap with the door. And I only know this. So I went in to take screenshots and the sim that I had so I could go into tab mode went into the kitchen because I had just got the update. So the mods I had weren't working, so I couldn't skip time. And so he went to the kitchen while I was waiting for the time to pass to get good lighting. And he made himself some food and I realised he was using the back door instead of the inside door. And I was like, oh, why is that? Oh, because I put the stairs in front of the door. So that was a time. So now it's got a slightly weirder layout, which you'll see later on, because there'll be a jump in the footage where I've realised, oh, I forgot to decorate the counters and I can't get into the kitchen. Apparently I didn't notice that before. See, look, there. I'm sure, yeah, that doesn't block. I don't know what I did. I don't know when I changed it. I must have, I don't know, maybe I made one of the bedrooms bigger because that door is where I remember it is. But then later on, the door seems to overlap with the stairs. I might even go back in again and have a little look before I upload it onto the gallery because I'm a bit confused about what I've done and it's really bothering me. And I did find a solution, but the way I did it, I'm not sure I necessarily like that much. Also, if you see me pause, it's because I have rabbits in my bedroom and they usually distract me while I'm recording. As we speak, I have one on the bed and one locked in because usually they have free roam in my room, but one of them is a bit under the weather and I'm trying to monitor her. But I can't do that while they're both together. So one is sitting on my bed and one is in their like cage. I wouldn't really call it a cage, but yeah. So that's fun. And so I'm really stressed. And to add to my stress, last night I downloaded Island Living and my game crashed twice. Once while I was creating a sim that I really loved, and it just crashed and I lost it all because you can't save your sim other than to the gallery while you're in create a sim, and I never think to do that. So, and then the second time I'd renovated one of the houses, the one by the volcano. Was like a bit more of an expensive starter home for her, and I'm thinking of doing a let's play just to add, but yeah, so I did that and it crashed right at the end, and so I had to rebuild it all and my OBS crashed, so I lost most of the footage, so I pretty much only had the layout for the house. And then even making it back based on the footage and the fact that I could remember everything that was in it, it still took me like another 40 minutes. So that's how slow I am, and I need to get a hold of that. Also, I've decided I hate decorating bathrooms because I don't know how to make them interesting. They always just look really generic and boring. I don't know how anyone makes their bathrooms look more interesting than a room with a shower, a sink, and a toilet. As you can see from me boringly decorating the bathroom, so also as you can see, I have done one, two, I can't count, 4 bedrooms for 7 Sims. I was thinking it'd be like a mum and a dad and their 5 children. I kind of imagined them having 2 sets of twins, which I thought was kind of a funny idea. I was also thinking of making, because I've said before, I'm trying to make my own world, just kind of for my own use. But I was thinking of also making another family that's got a few twins in there, or as a massive family, maybe even a single mum where the dad's died in the family or left. And I was thinking that maybe she could be friends with this mum. I was thinking of kind of doing, I don't know if I'll do it now, but I was thinking of having like a big family in a flat. But I don't know how many big families I can put into one world. So we'll have to see about that. Yeah, so I really like this build actually. I basically ended up making it into like for such a big family because the idea was that I wanted kind of like a crammed kind of space, which is why I was originally setting out to make a tiny home for grandparents. But obviously I made it way too big. But I thought it worked really well for this big family because then it kind of had the same feel to it where it's like, oh, these people living in quite a small environment. I tried to be a bit more experimental. I'm not sure. I've been trying to try out some like combining more objects. I think I need to stop using custom content build items as much because it's really making me not remember what items are in the game, and I find that makes it quite hard to decorate because you can't just think, oh yeah, I'm gonna hybrid these items together, or I'm gonna do this to make like a TV stand or something, because you can't really remember what's in the game anymore and what's just stuff you've downloaded, especially when you've got quite a few packs. So I think I'm gonna do that. This is, as far as I remember, CC free. I'm actually pretty much 100% sure it's CC free, but I haven't uploaded it to gallery yet because whenever I go to upload to the stuff to the gallery, it says it's modded even though it isn't, and I presume that's because of one of my mods that like one of my script mods does that, so I have to like turn off all my custom content and then upload it, so I need to do that today. But I do want to go in and check in with what I did to that door that made it disappear because I've still got no idea. There's also a really weird thing I noticed, that like the washing machine and tumble dryer, I don't know what you call it in the game. I call them tumble dryers in England, but I don't know if everyone else does. Anyway, I didn't like, they look a different colour. And I think you see in that clip where I go in and fix the door, me trying to fix the colours of them, because one of them looks a lot darker, but they're actually the same colour, so I don't know what happened there. I presume it's the lighting. Another thing I also realised I forget to do a lot is take out the subtle saucer lights and put in like hanging lights, like actual lights. So I did that. I remembered that today, so I'm proud of myself for that. I usually leave the subtle sources in though because I like the light that they distribute. So they're really bright, so I usually leave those in and like put another light kind of on top of them. Oh, and I really like this thing of putting like a TV in the fireplace, but it's really annoying to have to take out the wall. And I found it really fiddly. As you can see, it took me quite a while to get it in where I wanted it to go. But yeah, I really like having the subtle sources under, well, like kind of in line with the other lights that I put in. And I did go in with a sim so I could change the colour of the lights, because I don't like how they're all by default really different colours, and I really don't like the really yellow ones. I'm actually used to using usually the kind of the white one, but I went in and kind of used the pale yellow because I think it suited the cottage more. But like at home, I replaced all my light bulbs in real life with white ones because I much prefer the light. It makes the room feel a lot brighter. So that's what actually my house looks like. Well, my bedroom looks like in a couple of the rooms in our house now. Especially since I've got white walls, it makes my room look so bright and the lighting's really nice. I was thinking of starting streaming at some point, and it would make a lot better lighting than my room used to have. It just feels like it's daytime all the time when you have the lights on. I've even got one in my lamp, so that also looks really bright. Yeah, I really struggled with this room because I didn't know what wallpaper to do. I also realised later on I did something else where I added a window in where that picture frame was. Well, picture frame, the pictures were in. So I had to move those pictures around, which meant I had to move like the whole room around, which you also see later on. So apparently I must have been really tired when I was building this because I didn't notice any of these things till I went back in. So I guess that's a good thing, and going back in you notice things that you didn't before. And I remembered to put toilet rolls in this time, so that's a good job for me, I guess. Um, uh, yeah, so this is what I was finishing off yesterday. I did actually mean to upload it on Wednesday, but my mum's been off all week because it's her birthday. And my boyfriend's always in my bedroom, and I don't like recording when other people are in here. I did it the other night when he was asleep, but when he was awake, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Also, he always forgets that I'm recording. So, like yesterday, I sent him downstairs to make his dinner, and so I was going to record at that point, and then he shouted up at me to get my dinner. So it was a good job that I hadn't really done very much, because I would have had to have scrapped it probably, because I can't remember what I talk about, and I would have ended up repeating myself loads if I'd just carried on. Oh, I really like this bit of the room. I decided to use that object. I've never used it before, and kind of merge it into the wall a little bit so it didn't have the blue thing. And I actually like that not everything clips to the shelves, because it meant that I could move everything around easily without having to constantly like move the shelf out of the way to do it. And I don't know why I left that little gap, but I did go in later on because it really bothered me, and I added in, I think it's from Outdoor Retreat, the island thinking of island living, the survivors, like it's a box of supplies basically, and I thought it kind of looked like crafty supplies, so I was thinking maybe the mum, it's like quite crafty. I was thinking like the dad was maybe on like a sports team when he was younger, and that's why on their desk they've got a photo of what I would say was like a football team. But I think I'm gonna have one of them as a writer, because there's like I put a book on their desk. I don't know, I haven't really decided. I was thinking like maybe having the mum as something creative, because I thought that someone would have to be at home with the toddlers probably, because that's the way I've laid this out. So this room is, I was thinking for like a teenage boy, and then the clutter I originally put in on the floor, I realised afterwards not very teenagery, and I didn't realise there was a swatch that was much more teenagery and like sporty in particular, which made sense. So I actually changed that later on, but I'm not sure if I filmed me doing that, because I went in and I added some lamps because I realised I'd forgot to like put clutter or anything on some of the what do you call them, on some of the end tables. So I went in and did that. Bedside tables, that's the word. So I went in and did that, and yeah, so I imagine that room was kind of the room of like a teenage boy who's really into like sports, like bowling, football. Yeah, I was basically every sport is what I was thinking. And then the toddlers, I was thinking they had like a girl and a boy, so I made it green because that's quite gender neutral, I think, anyway. And so that's how I'm planning that. I don't know what's going to happen if they all stay in the house till they're really old, because there's not going to be enough room. Maybe an extension, but I don't think there's enough room on this lot. And so there's also another bedroom for 2 kids, which I was thinking was 2 children. So I was thinking it was 2 girls. So I was thinking that basically they had an older son, and then they had twins, and then they were like, oh, we just want one more child, and then they ended up having twins again. So obviously they had to accommodate them, and so they've got a really big family. I was even thinking of doing a bigger family, not with this household, but like in general, because I have MC Command Centre, and so I can make my households bigger, but I thought not everyone would be able to find that useful. I still might do it later on, but for this house it wouldn't have worked anyway, because it would have been really, really cramped, and I think it works like this. And I've put in like bowls because I thought they would probably have a pet. I was thinking a dog, probably like a cliche family dog, like a golden retriever. I've got a golden retriever and I absolutely adore him. He's the best dog ever. He's so sweet. And I was thinking kind of like the idea that like the son helps out and he takes the dog for a walk or like for runs because he's pretty sporty. And the dad's quite busy at work, but when he's home on the weekends, he spends all of his time with his kids. And that the mum kind of is a stay-at-home mum, but she's self-employed, like a freelancer maybe, because I've not had a chance to use any of the freelancer careers yet. I don't know if I'll actually play with this household, to be honest, but I think making them would be fun, and like setting up their jobs. I really like setting up worlds and setting up relationships, and I think that's a lot of fun in the game, so that's probably what I'm going to do for this household. I really am looking forward to playing with Island Living. I've started last night, as I said, but then my game crashed, so then I remade the same sim as best that I could, which looks a little bit different. I think I have the footage for that, so I'm probably going to make that into a cast video, and I really like how she came out. Oh, I love the hair. I love all the new hair. I think the Sims have been adding some really gorgeous hairs in since about cats and dogs probably. Also, I still wish we had more animals, but I can only hope, can't I? So, yeah, so I really love all the new hairs. I love a lot of the clothes. I think, used pretty much no CC clothes on my sim that I made last night, which is really unusual for me because I really loved all the new tops and some of the new full body outfits. I thought they were really lovely. So that's what my sim is wearing for island living. I don't know if I'm going to do like a let's play or anything, but I think I probably should because I want to kind of play through it. I've got this family and I was actually thinking, well, I've talked about them before, but I was going to move one of them to Solani, but I don't think I'm ready to do that yet because I'm still kind of playing through the acting career with the one currently. So maybe once I've played with this other sim, I'll carry on with that family again because I really love that family. But I think I need to kind of even move them out of the world, but I don't really want to do that because I've got all the graves and family I didn't like in that world. So I think I might have to kind of renovate the world. I don't really know what to say about it. Just kind of put new sims in. I did actually change MC Command Center so that it would take sims from my gallery instead of just randomly generating them, because for some reason mine keeps randomly generating bald aliens all the time, or ones with exactly the same look. And also a lot of them seem to have that skin tone that's like quite black, but not like black, you know, the one that's kind of like ashy. And I think it looks really strange on all of them because they keep just generating, and then I think a lot of the time they're dressed in really strange clothes. And I always just, I don't know, something about that skin reminds me of kind of like vampire skin because it's just so out there. It's like that, or like the really, 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 I don't know, they're just really strange colours. I've never used that one. And so I don't really have any usable sims in that world that aren't from my family because they're all really weird looking, or they have loads of like loads and loads of kids, and it's kind of like interbreeding at this point because there's so many sims in my world, especially from like the same family, that they've got so many lines apart that they end up back together. Even in my family, I've got two that ended up together and I cheated them apart again because I knew the connection. But then there's probably more because that family's so big now, so I don't know whether to just move them out and start afresh, but then I don't really want to lose the graves of like the original, so like all the founders and stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to do that. I might do, but I've got a feeling I probably won't end up doing that. And then when I changed it to like take sims from the gallery, it like added in my founders, and I was like, yeah, no, this is not what I wanted. So that was annoying as well. So I guess I'm just gonna have to find a way to work with that. I gave this like lot a tiny garden. There wasn't really much space to give it a big one, but I thought it'd be nice to give a little one. I tried to add like one of the fishing ponds in from the hidden objects bit, but I couldn't really fit in nicely, so I ended up making my own pond. Problem is that I realised later on you could see the lines if you were on ground level of where the pond was, but I left it because I realised that most people don't play kind of looking from the ground, so I thought that was pretty alright. But I went in afterwards again and I made the garden more interesting because I realised that nothing's really in the garden. There's just a big tree and a pond, and I was like, well, they'd probably have something out there. So I ended up adding in a picnic bench, I think it is, with the umbrella. So I was like, oh, they'd want their kids to be shaded if they're under there. And also one of those little portable barbecues from, is it Toddler Stuff? Because I really like that barbecue. It's really ugly, but I kind of like the functionality of it, because I feel like not many people actually have big barbecues. And like, we have a big one in my garden in real life that we got a few years ago, but then we barely ever use it because I think it's so much effort to kind of set up one that big that most of the time we just use like a little one, like a lot of the time just even like disposable ones. And often I take barbecues out with my friends to the beach and we have barbecues down there. And you can't do that with like big. Yeah, so I just got interrupted again. Like I was saying earlier, my boyfriend has a tendency to walk in or shout me whenever I'm recording things and not think about it. Even though I'm sure he must have been able to hear me talking from upstairs, because I must have sounded like a lunatic talking to myself, but I don't know. Anyway, I was saying about barbecues, but I guess it's not that relevant anymore. Well, I guess it's relevant to island living. I put one of those barbecues into my island living house as well. I think I've recorded that renovation. I'm not sure I'd call it a renovation because I really didn't do a whole lot, and it's not that nice. I just kind of made it for her to live in, just for me to play for the beginning of the, well, whatever I play. I don't know if it's going to be Let's Play or just for me to personally playing. So I guess I wasn't really planning on doing a Let's Play properly, so I didn't really make too much of an effort with it. I guess it's really just for me to play in, and it's kind of meant to be pretty basic. I didn't want to spend too much money. I'm really excited to try the conservationist career, and the odd job thing looks really fun. And also having part-time jobs, that seems like it'll be pretty cool, especially if you have, like, say, like in this household where you've got a big family and you need parents at home kind of thing. I think that'd be really cool to have the part-time jobs much more flexible. And I love the game when they add things in that make it a lot more realistic. That's my favourite aspect of The Sims, honestly. Like, I do like to play with the occult sometimes, but often I'll play with them once or twice and then that's kind of it. The way I love to play is the family stuff. Like, I love to make my Sims have kids and then kind of come up with backstories for theirs. And honestly, my favourite thing is just trying to get as many generations as I can, which is what the Sharp Miller family is for me. But we'll see if I do that. I think I've only got to 5 so far, but I've always wanted to get to 10. I think that was my goal last summer, was to get to 10 generations, but then I didn't play Sims enough. And like recently I haven't been playing Sims a whole lot because I think I've just not really been enjoying it as much because I haven't really been playing in a way that I enjoy so much. So I've been trying to get back into enjoying playing, which is why I started YouTube and then got really bad with uploading already, because I don't want to do it if it's not fun for me, and I don't see the point in forcing yourself to do things that aren't fun unless obviously you have to do them, like work. But with this I was kind of like, okay, I'll just kind of play it a little bit for me and see how much I enjoy it. Like, I played Strangerville just to play through it last time, and I think that was, I haven't really enjoyed playing The Sims properly since before then. I mean, I've had like odd times where I have, but I think with like Strangerville I literally played it to play through the story and then that was it. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, I'm not really enjoying this. I don't know if I want to play with this family anymore. I'm not sure if maybe starting a new family would help me, because I've been playing with the same family for so long, and as I said, the world that they're living in, like The Sims, are so disorganised, and it just doesn't really feel like there's any like real families or anything or households in the world. So maybe if I started a new family, that would be better for me. I also listened back to some of this audio from when my boyfriend came up to figure out what I'd been talking about, and I realised that my mic keeps like spiking, and even on my audio levels I can't see it doing that. So I'm not sure why that keeps happening, but I'm gonna again keep trying to work on this, keep trying to figure out why I can't use a mic. I also can't get it to go very high unless I like yell into it, and I did try turning it up, but then it made the audio really weird and muffled, which is what happened last week. But yeah, I'm gonna finish this voiceover I think, and then I might do another one for that cast because I don't think it's very long, but I'm not sure. And then if not, then I'll probably do that tomorrow, so then at least I've got 2 videos to upload. And I want to finish the interior for the build that I did last week, the bachelor pad one. So that's my plan for my next video. Well, I've actually also got the video, I think, for that house that I've renovated in Solani, but after that my plan is to do the, what am I saying, to do the interior for that build. But I'm kind of dreading it because it's so big. I think it's going to be quite empty, but I think that might work in its favour because it's pretty modern and like minimalist looking anyway. So I think maybe doing it more minimalist works in its favour, because when I originally did it I used a lot of the Get Famous stuff, but I actually think the Get Famous stuff, a lot of it's too ornate for most of the house, and so I think I'm going to stick with kind of like the minimalist. Trying to think which pack it came in, but I can never remember their names. It might have been Vintage Glamour or one of the kind of first ones. There's a lot of stuff in there that's like black and silver that I think works really well in that house. So I think I'm going to use more of that and then kind of accent it with some of the black and silver furniture that came with Get Famous. So yeah, I think that's going to be my way to go with that, and just not bothering to try and clutter it up, because I think that kind of house doesn't really work for clutter as well either, especially since it's so big. I think it will just end up looking like I've just thrown random bits into the house anyway, and not like it's like lived in, which is always my aim when I clutter up, say, houses like this, is I want it to look like Sims actually live there. Also, I don't know what I did to the wall. I think you could see in the back a minute ago where like the one of the living room walls was wrong. I think I'd accidentally changed the wallpaper, but that's obviously, I figured that out or saw that. Oh no, it was a letterbox. I put a letterbox in the front and it stuck through the wall, and then when I went in and changed the thing around because I realised the door was blocked, I saw that in the living room and I did change that, so you won't have that in the game. Yeah, I think this build doesn't have that much left on it. I can't speak. Doesn't have much time left on it, other than I think there's a little bit, and then is when I go in and realise that I've not done it all completely. So you'll be able to see all the things I've been talking about, and then hopefully the more I build, the more I'll get used to putting these things in. However, I don't think I'm ever going to remember to put toilet roll holders in all the time, because I don't know, it just always slips my mind, I think. Because also the other thing I was always searching for them was like toilet paper or just toilet roll, and it just doesn't come up for whatever one I search when I type in like toilet paper holder, because it's like toilet roll paper or toilet paper roll holder or something. Yeah, so this is part of the footage where I go in and add all the lamps in and all the ceiling lights and rearranging, because I realised the door's blocked at some point here. So that's why it's suddenly like taking money out, because I actually have a sim on the lot now, which is also good because I play tested the kitchen, because the way I put that dining table, I thought I better play test like if they can actually sit at all the chairs, and as far as I'm aware they can sit at all the chairs. I haven't got any high chairs in there because honestly I don't really use them in my game, and I didn't really have room in this build. I guess you could put in a smaller table if you wanted to put high chairs in, or put one high chair in, and that's totally fine. You could also expand the kitchen by like one square, and you'd also have room to add a high chair in. It's just I never really play with them because I find that they're really irritating, because my Sims are always putting their toddlers in there and then not getting them out, and I just find them really difficult to use. So I just don't really use them ever. And I thought they're not toddlers for very long and that they'd grow up soon, so I thought it'd be better to put the big table in. And also, I think it's so much easier to just feed toddlers on the floor, but I know obviously some people will like playing with high chairs, so there's room to put that in if you wanted to expand it a little bit or just change the table, I guess. So yeah, that's good. Coming up to the end now, and you can see me just decorating the garden a little bit. So here's some screenshots. Hope you enjoy. See you next time.